There are certain truths about men that are rarely spoken. Truths that every woman deserves to know. Behind every strong smile, every bold step, and every loud voice, there are hidden battles that men fight in silence. And today, I want to share with you the 5 weaknesses of men that will not only change the way you see them, but also the way you understand love, relationships, and life itself. Listen closely, because each of these 5 points will open your eyes to a reality that many ignore. There are 5 main things. How to truly understand the heart of a man, how to see beyond his strength, how to recognize his silent cries, how to connect with his soul, and how to support him in ways he can't even ask for. 1. The weight of ego. Every man carries something invisible on his shoulders. It is not always responsibility, it is not always pressure. Sometimes it is something far more delicate yet far heavier, his ego. Ego is not just pride. It is the deep need inside every man to be respected, admired, and valued. It is the unspoken desire to be seen as capable, strong, and worthy. From the time a boy grows into a man, society teaches him that he must always appear confident, powerful, and in control. He is told that to be a man means never to look weak, never to stumble, never to let the world see him break, and so his ego becomes both his armor and his burden. Imagine this for a moment. A man works tirelessly to provide, to protect, to prove himself. When he comes home, he does not always say it out loud, but his heart is quietly asking for one thing: recognition. A single kind word, a single moment of appreciation can light him up inside. But when he feels ignored, unvalued, or belittled, the same heart begins to shrink. His silence grows, his distance grows, because to him, disrespect feels like a wound deeper than anything else. Many women misunderstand ego as arrogance, but the truth is, ego is often a shield for fragility. When a man raises his voice or becomes defensive, it is not always anger, it is fear. Fear of being seen as less than what he believes he should be. Fear of being diminished in the eyes of the one he loves. And that fear turns into a wall. Behind the wall is not cruelty, but vulnerability. The weight of ego also comes from expectations. A man feels he must succeed in his career, he must provide for his family, he must lead, he must be unshakable. These expectations are placed on him by the world, but slowly he begins to place them on himself. And when he fails, even in the smallest way, his ego suffers. He may not admit it, but inside he feels like he has disappointed everyone. He feels unworthy, he feels invisible. Think about how many men carry this silently. A father who sacrifices his dreams for his children, but never hears a thank you. A husband who works long hours, but only hears complaints about what he has not done. A son who wants to make his parents proud, but always feels compared to someone else. Each moment chips away at his sense of worth, making his ego not stronger, but weaker and more fragile. And yet the most surprising part is this: the ego of a man is not built by wealth, success, or status. It is built by the simple words and actions of the people closest to him. A gentle "I believe in you" can heal his tired spirit. A small acknowledgement of his effort can give him strength to keep going. Respect is not about bowing down to him, it is about recognizing his humanity. But when respect is taken away, when his pride is constantly crushed, when his efforts are dismissed, he feels powerless. That is when ego turns into silence. He may withdraw, he may stop sharing, he may stop trying. And the woman who wonders why he has changed may not realize that all he wanted was to be valued. Ego is not about arrogance, it is about identity. For many men, it is the reflection of how the world sees them. And when that reflection is broken, they break with it. Every woman must know this, because to understand the weight of ego is to understand the hidden heart of a man. 2. The silence of emotions. Men are often seen as strong, unshakable, and unbothered by pain. But what we forget is that this image is not always who they are. It is who they are told to be. From a very young age, many boys are taught not to cry, not to show fear, not to reveal their feelings. They are told that tears are weakness, that softness makes them less of a man, that silence is strength. And so they grow into men who feel deeply but hide constantly, men who carry storms inside but never let the rain fall. The silence of emotions is one of the heaviest burdens a man carries. He may sit across from you at dinner with a smile on his face, yet his heart could be screaming inside. He may laugh with his friends, but when he is alone, his chest feels heavy with words he never said. He may succeed in his work, but at night, lying in bed, he wonders if anyone truly understands him. This silence is not because he feels nothing, it is because he feels too much and has never been given permission to release it. Imagine the boy who fell and scraped his knee. Instead of being comforted, he was told, "Don't cry, be a man." Imagine the teenager who faced heartbreak but was told, "Move on, men don't get hurt." Imagine the husband who feels pressure at work but hides it because he doesn't want to worry his family. Every stage of his life, he learns the same lesson: emotions must be buried, not expressed. Over time, this becomes his reality, his way of living. But buried emotions do not disappear. They build up like stones in the heart. They weigh him down in ways he cannot explain. They create distance between him and the people he loves. A man who cannot speak his truth begins to feel unseen. He begins to feel lonely, even in a room full of people. His silence becomes his mask, but behind the mask is a soul longing for someone to ask, "Are you really okay?" and truly mean it. The silence of emotions often shows itself in different forms. Some men become quiet, withdrawn, unreachable. Others cover it up with anger, using aggression as a language when words fail them. Some distract themselves with work, sports, or habits just to avoid confronting what they feel inside. And yet, all of it comes from the same place, the inability to express what their heart carries. Women often ask, why doesn't he share what he feels? The answer is simple but painful: he doesn't know how. He has never been given the safe space to do so. He fears that if he opens up, he will be judged, mocked, or seen as weak. And so instead of risking rejection, he chooses silence. His silence is not indifference, it is protection. But in truth, what every man longs for is the freedom to express, to say, "I'm scared," without being told he's weak. To say, "I'm tired," without being told he's lazy. To say, "I need help," without being told he has failed. His emotions are not less real than anyone else's, they are simply more hidden. And when they remain hidden too long, they become wounds that never heal. The silence of emotions is not a lack of feelings, it is an overflow of feelings trapped behind a wall. And unless that wall is understood, unless it is approached with patience and compassion, the man behind it remains unseen. His silence may look like strength to the world, but in truth, it is the deepest sign of his vulnerability. 3. The craving for validation. Every human being longs to be seen, to be heard, to be valued. But for men, this need often runs deeper than they admit. Beneath the surface of confidence and strength, there is a quiet craving for validation, a desire to know that their efforts matter, that their struggles are recognized, and that their presence makes a difference. Men may not always say it, but their hearts whisper the same silent question: am I enough? From childhood, boys are praised for what they do, not for who they are. They are clapped for when they win, appreciated when they achieve, admired when they succeed. Slowly, they begin to tie their worth to performance, to results, to outcomes. And when life grows heavier, when achievements are fewer, or when mistakes happen, they begin to doubt themselves. The craving for validation becomes stronger, not because they are weak, but because they are human. Think of the man who works long hours to provide for his family. Outwardly, he may look strong, dedicated, and focused. But inside, he is silently waiting for someone to say, "I see your efforts. I'm grateful for you." Think of the man who protects, who sacrifices, who goes without so that others can have more. His heart does not need grand gestures. Sometimes all it needs is acknowledgement, a word, a smile, a simple thank you. These little moments become fuel for his spirit. Yet, when a man gives everything and feels unseen, something inside him breaks. He may keep working, keep sacrificing, keep pushing forward, but his spirit feels unappreciated. Over time, this invisible hunger for validation can turn into frustration. He may ask less often, he may speak less, he may even withdraw emotionally, but deep inside, the need remains. He longs for someone to remind him that he is not defined only by his success, but also by his existence. Validation is not about feeding a man's pride. It is about nurturing his soul. It is about telling him that his presence matters as much as his performance. Many men fear that without achievements they will not be respected or loved. They worry that their failures will erase their worth. But when a woman, a friend, or a family member looks him in the eye and says, "You are enough just as you are," it gives him strength to face the world again. The craving for validation also shows in the way men handle relationships. A man may provide, protect, and stand strong, but what he deeply desires is to feel appreciated for it. When his effort is met with criticism instead of acknowledgement, he feels rejected. When his sacrifices are overlooked, he feels invisible. When his hard work is taken for granted, he feels unloved. This is why appreciation is so powerful. It heals wounds we cannot see. Many women wonder why men sometimes act distant or cold. Often it is because they no longer feel valued. A man who feels validated blossoms. A man who feels invisible withers. His spirit responds not to wealth or material gain, but to recognition and respect. Even the strongest man, the most successful, the most powerful, carries this silent need in his heart. Validation is not weakness, it is not dependence, it is a reminder that human beings are wired to connect, to be seen, to be valued. For a man, hearing the words "I'm proud of you" or "I believe in you" can be the difference between giving up and trying again. It can turn his exhaustion into energy, his doubts into determination, his silence into expression. 4. The fear of failure. One of the deepest and most hidden weaknesses that men carry is the fear of failure. It is not just about failing at work, losing money, or missing opportunities. It is about what failure means to their identity. For many men, their worth is tied to what they achieve, how much they provide, and how successful they appear in the eyes of others. Failure, therefore, does not feel like a single event. It feels like a judgment on who they are as a person. From the very beginning, boys are often taught to be winners. They are praised for scoring the goal, for getting the grades, for achieving results. But rarely are they told that their value exists even without these victories. As they grow older, this silent message shapes their self-image. Success equals worth. Achievement equals love. Victory equals respect. And so when life throws them into moments of failure, it shakes the foundation of their identity. Imagine a man who loses his job. To the outside world, it is just a career setback. But to him, it feels like he has failed his family, failed himself, failed his role as a provider. He may not say it, but every day he wakes up with the weight of disappointment pressing on his chest. Imagine the man who dreams big but stumbles along the way. The voices around him may say, "It's okay, try again," but the voice inside him whispers, "You are not enough." This fear can be crippling, and yet he often suffers in silence because admitting fear itself feels like another kind of failure. The fear of failure pushes many men to overwork, to exhaust themselves, to chase goals endlessly. They want to prove they are capable, strong, unstoppable. They hide their tiredness, bury their doubts, and pretend to be unshakable. But deep inside, they are terrified of falling short, not just of their own expectations, but of the expectations others have placed upon them. A father worries about failing his children. A husband worries about failing his wife. A son worries about failing his parents. These invisible pressures can weigh heavier than any physical burden. And yet the fear of failure also changes how men show emotions. Some become perfectionists, always pushing, always restless, never satisfied. Others withdraw, afraid to take risks, afraid to step forward because the pain of failure feels worse than never trying at all. Some mask it with anger, others with silence. But at the root of it all is the same fear, the fear of being seen as less, the fear of not being enough. What makes this fear so powerful is not just the failure itself, but what men imagine failure says about them. If they stumble in their career, they think it means they are incapable. If they cannot provide as much as they hoped, they think it means they are unworthy. If they make mistakes in relationships, they think it means they are unlovable. This belief system eats away at their confidence, creating wounds that no one else can see. But here is the truth about men that often goes unnoticed. When they are supported in failure, when they are reminded that their worth is not defined by their achievements, they rise again stronger. A single voice saying, "You are still enough," even now can become the reason they try again. The fear of failure may never disappear completely, but the way it is handled determines whether it destroys them or shapes them. Behind every man's fear of failure is a heart that longs to know he is still worthy, still valued, still loved, even when he falls. 5. The temptation of escape. When life becomes heavy, when responsibilities pile up, and when emotions remain unspoken, many men turn towards something that seems easier than confrontation: escape. This escape can take many forms: endless hours at work, constant scrolling on a phone, late nights with friends, addictions, or even shutting themselves off emotionally. On the outside, it may look like distraction, but on the inside, it is often survival. For men who have been taught not to cry, not to share, not to reveal weakness, escape becomes the only way to silence the noise in their hearts. The temptation of escape is powerful because it offers a temporary relief. A man drowning in financial pressure may bury himself in work, convincing himself he is doing it for his family, when in reality he is running away from the fear of not being enough. Another man may escape into unhealthy habits, not because he wants to harm himself, but because he doesn't know how else to quiet the pain inside. Some withdraw into silence, others drown themselves in busyness, but the root is always the same. They are trying to outrun what hurts them. Think about the man who feels unappreciated at home. Instead of speaking his heart, he begins to spend more time outside where he feels less judged, less pressured, less invisible. Think about the man who carries the fear of failure. He may hide behind distractions because facing his emotions feels unbearable. Escape is not about not caring. It is about not knowing how to cope. It is not rejection, it is retreat. The world often misinterprets this behavior. People may say, "He doesn't care. He doesn't love. He's selfish." But behind the surface lies a different truth. Escape is a way of numbing. Men escape not because they lack love, but because they lack tools to express their pain. Society has not taught them how to communicate vulnerability, so instead they look for ways to silence it. The temptation of escape grows stronger when men feel trapped by expectations. The pressure to provide, to succeed, to be strong, to never fail, it becomes overwhelming. Without a safe outlet, without someone who will listen without judgment, the easiest choice feels like avoiding reality. Escape gives them moments where they do not have to face the weight of their fears. But while it soothes temporarily, it slowly creates distance between them and the people who love them. Some men escape into their careers, becoming workaholics, because success at least gives them recognition. Others escape into habits, smoking, drinking, gambling, because for a few minutes the pain feels lighter. Some retreat into silence, isolating themselves because they cannot risk breaking in front of others. Each escape tells the same story. "I don't know how to carry this weight, so I must put it down somewhere, even if only for a moment." But behind every escape is a man longing to be understood. He does not want to run away forever. He does not want to live hidden behind distractions. What he truly wants is someone who can notice the escape for what it is, not neglect, but a cry for help. He wants patience, not judgment. He wants presence, not interrogation. He wants someone who can look beyond the surface and see the pain underneath. The temptation of escape is a weakness, but it is also a signal. It is the heart saying, "I cannot hold this alone anymore." It is the mind saying, "I need rest, I need release, I need relief." And while escape may look like avoidance, in truth it is a desperate search for peace.